you talk a tiny bit quieter, like even kill, not shabby voice? I can do this. No, don't show me the finger. Do you want me to communicate with you this way? Like, do this, not that. This, and we can communicate that way. I'm not trying to be mean. Yeah. That'll get them. Wow. Okay. We'll wait for some people to get in and go from there. In the meantime, I'm going to get some stuff open. Actually, I think I'm just going to grab one more thing. All right. I'm going to just get a few of these open up while we let some people get in. I'm just opening up some of the cans right now while everybody's getting in, and then we'll get going. That way, try to be a little bit ahead of the game. So back over here. This is the one's a shit for everybody. This is the beehive, but we don't have anything in it yet. We just got it up. Okay, so follow me this way. If you would like to practice archery, Guggenheim, let me know when you get in. I know you were wanting to see how I cook this. Also, let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I'm using Shaby's setup she uses when cooking. I think I got everything going, but trying to make sure. Yeah, you have to get that blueprint, I think, crafted, Shib. Okay. You have to get the blueprint. So then if you go to hairstyle, you can actually change your hairstyle, but only to tribesmen. You can only do the hairstyle
Okay, we will look at getting started. Sorry, Shaby's a little bit loud. Guggenheim, are you in yet? You guys have any questions or anything as I go along? So this is Caveman Chili is what we're going to cook. The one thing I do not have that you should have is about 4 or 5 pieces of bacon. You want to cook it up in advance. Not like, you want to have it cooked that you would eat it, but you don't want it like full on hard. That way it'll kind of slow cook with the rest of the chili. I would say probably cook it a good 15 minutes, and then it can finish cooking in with the chili from there. So we got 1 yellow onion, a sweet red pepper. We got some cherry tomatoes. Usually I would use more tomatoes than this, but we're out of fresh tomatoes, so I'm going to do what we have on the cherry and then use about a half a can of just diced tomatoes. Got just a little bit of cilantro, 3 dills of garlic, about 5 or 6 green onions. We're going to have some diced green chilies, or you can get a jalapeno pepper and cut it up. And then on the beans side, I usually try to go with 5 cans of beans. You could also make your own beans. You could make this everything as fresh as possible, or do like I do. The way that I'm doing it here is how I do it most of the time. Like I said, only thing I'm missing is bacon, and it tastes delicious. So I got 1 black bean, 1 pinto bean, 1 dark red kidney bean, 1 great northern bean, and normally I would have a 5th bean, or I would double up on the pinto, but I thought I had 2 cans of it. I didn't, so I'm using extra black bean. And then you'll have 1 full deal, 15 ounce of tomato sauce. From that, on spices, cayenne pepper. I'm only going to use a little bit in this. Normally, when I would make it, I would use a little bit more. I like the chili hot, but my daughter does not like it very hot, so I won't use very much. We'll use a little bit of onion powder, pepper, sea salt, some garlic powder, chili powder, some thyme leaves, and some organic paprika. Smoked paprika I actually prefer to use, but we are out of it as well. And then in the meat, I'm going to be using venison today. Normally, I do this with wild boar meat. You can find it at a lot of specialty type grocery stores. I used to find it at Sprouts. They were out of it. I think the brand was Farm and Ranch. There's another brand that carries it also, but venison will be good too. And I'll also use some more Worcestershire sauce on the meat before we cook it. So we'll go ahead and start cutting up our onion. I would use 1 full yellow onion cut up. So now we got those ready. We'll dice these up. I usually cut them in strips.
Oh my gosh, you can still fit. Look at that. He's just shoving it up.
And after I cut them up like that, I'll turn them, cut the other way, make them a little bit smaller. You don't want big pieces of onion, just nice. This knife is not the best knife. And I am messy when I cook. It makes Shavy quite upset sometimes. Okay, so we got our onions. So usually what I like to do here is do the onions first, as far as the big onion, the green onions. I'll do here in a minute. Next thing I'm going to do is take the venison, and I'm going to go ahead and get some Worcestershire sauce on it. Shake it around 4 or 5 seconds should be enough. And then I'm going to add some initial seasoning on the meat. Just a dash of cayenne pepper. A little bit of onion powder. Some ground black pepper. A little bit of salt. And we got a little bit of garlic powder. And we got chili powder. We'll end up using a lot of that over. Just kind of dash that in there. Thyme. Just a couple of dashes in there. Don't need a whole lot of thyme. That doesn't go a long way. Oh yeah, I love venison. And then we got a little bit of paprika powder. All right. So what we're going to do next, I'll go over the stove. We'll start getting our pan heating up. I got a little bit of grapeseed oil in there in the pan to cook the venison. So what I like to do is cook the venison first, not cook it completely, but get it cooked up some before I add it into the pot with the chili, and then let it slow cook the rest of the way. I would pretty much do the same thing with bacon. That's the only main thing that I'm missing today. We've done it with bacon before, still tastes really good. But if you can do it with bacon, it is by far excellent. Highly recommend it. Just the flavor and everything it does. I use grapeseed oil just because it tends to not be as overtaking. Olive oil doesn't really seem to fit. And so we'll get that cooked up. We'll let the meat cook a little bit first, and then we'll add this onion in there with the meat after it's cooked up some. And then from there, we'll transfer the meat and the onions into the pot for the chili, and then we'll start adding the other stuff in. So in the meantime, we'll go ahead and cut up the green onion. But the venison will taste really good. My preference, I have loved it anytime I've done the wild boar meat. That one, and I think Shave and T-Dog are both kind of in the same boat. They like the wild boar better, but both taste really well. I don't know if our local market that we were going to had it for probably a good 2 or 3 years, and I don't know if they sold out or just stopped carrying it. They did have another brand that it showed they had the ticket for, but they were out of stock, so they may have just switched brands. The one I was getting, I think, was Farm and Ranch, if I remember right. But really good meats from them. I haven't tried this with bison meat. I've done bison burgers before. I think it would probably taste pretty good overall. But that's another one you could try with it. Cut up some of our tomatoes. Like I said, I would usually use more cherry tomatoes than this, but we were out from the recipes. Shay cooked a lot during Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these up. You can do this meal as fresh as you want, or as bachelor type easy as you want. I've done it both ways. Still tastes good. So it's a matter of preference or what time you have available. But prep time probably, I don't know, probably about 30 minutes somewhere in there, and cook time's probably about an hour, hour and 15. And I try to, while it's cooking for about an hour and 15 minutes, I will actually try to get in there and stir it about every 15 minutes and add some additional, pretty much re-season it about every 15 and give it a good stir. And it seems to slow cook that way really well, blends the flavors, and turns out really well. I was surprised on this. So one of my sons is actually a vegetarian. So if you're watching this and you're a vegetarian, you're probably like, well, I'd never eat it. I actually used Gardein meat, and another time I used Impossible meat, and substituted for the venison and the boar on those. My personal preference is I liked the Gardein vegetarian version better than the Impossible. But it still tasted good with the Impossible. But if you wanted to not use the bacon and do a vegetarian, Gardein, the crumbled up beef crumbles work really well. The other vegetarian version would be Impossible. You could use Beyond Meat, of course, too. I'm just not as big a fan as Beyond Meat. I feel like it kind of has a little bit of aftertaste, but with having a son that's vegetarian, I've had to learn to eat some meals vegetarian, so I've tried to find a balance on those where I can still have some of the recipes and food that I like, gear them around vegetarian, try to do a few different things, and actually turned out pretty well. Alright, so we just get these tomatoes diced. The rest of the tomatoes we'll use about a half a can of tomatoes to finish that off. We got the green onion, other onion cut up, and then we're going to cut up some garlic. Try to make these real thin if you can. We will, of course, you saw we used a little bit of garlic powder on the meat. We will still season with that some, but it'll be very light. A lot of the flavor for the garlic is going to come from the fresh garlic. I do highly recommend to not just do garlic powder, but do some fresh garlic. It really does help with the flavoring. And if you guys have any questions as I'm going along, anything like that, let me know. I usually just play video games on Twitch and YouTube, but we kind of family stream together. Our whole family plays games. Shabe is a much better cook than me. She started her own channel doing cooking of video game recipes, as well as some others that she's just known over the years. So everybody seems to like it. one of my friends that streams with us some has been wanting to make this and asked if I would do a video on it. So this is not my normal realm, but I do like to cook. I'm just not, can you use human meat? Yeah, you have to get it from Yog. You have to have a special cleaver from Conan, and you can use that meat if you wanted Guggenheim. That is the asshole who asked me to do this video, by the way. And we're going to slice up some cilantro. Goes really good with it. Now, one thing you can do also is if you wanted to, you could skip the either cutting up or the diced tomatoes, and you could get a good deal of salsa that you like. There's actually one at my grocer where I was getting the wild boar at. I have to remember what the brand is, but it was pretty much kind of a medium salsa, just a good amount of heat, kind of smoky flavored almost. Have you tried human meat? What is your poop like after eating this? Well, thank you, Guggenheim. Shavy, shut up. It's not funny. He's being a jerk on here.
Well, you've got to answer people's questions or they won't want to watch you.
I would say that if you do this, if you do the hotter version of this, hey Dan, what's going on? If you do the hotter version of this, you're probably gonna have a hot shit. You might have, if you've seen Dumb and Dumber, where he's screaming on there, it could be too much for some people. But no, I have not tried it with human meat yet. I'll have to look at that and check my current laws on where that stands there, Guggenheim. Jerk. So this is a sweet red pepper. It will kind of go nice. We got some diced green chilies. I usually, instead of diced green chilies, would use a jalapeno pepper fresh that I would cut up, but it tends to be too hot for my daughter, so this is more of the less hot version. So you can go back and do some substitutions with what I've kind of talked about and make it a little bit hotter. I think it's better hotter, but it still tastes good this way, and I would rather have everybody happy and eat it and not have to listen to whining about how hot it is. I think that's enough. We're getting into a lot of seeds. All right. It's almost warmed up. I highly recommend while you do this, drink a glass of wine. I always enjoy cooking, drinking some wine. So, there's stupidity at its best. I was heating up the wrong pan. So my pan for my meat is not quite ready. One thing I'll do on the venison is before I put it in, break it up. Just like you would look at doing hamburger patties, but don't make the actual patties, just kind of get it broken up. That way we'll kind of spread it out evenly in there. What do you not enjoy drinking wine with? You know, I haven't found a whole lot of reasons not to drink wine. But I will say when you're dicing up stuff and cooking a whole bunch, it does tend to make it a little bit funner. All right. What else you got to throw at me today, Guggenheim? Been kind of full of it today. I've made a mess in the freaking kitchen. Maybe if I keep Shavy streaming, she won't get on to me and make me clean it. Just got to make it to Monday and be at work. Okay. Go ahead and I think add the meat. Move my mic with me so you can still hear me. There. All right. We'll just kind of spread it around. Usually I'd have it hotter. Like I said, I had the wrong burner on. Just let it kind of sit there, simmer. I'm just going to kind of try to lightly brown the outside of it. And what I'll do here is when the main side on the bottom gets browned, after I turn it, then I'm going to add the onions in with it and let the onions cook some with it. And when the other side gets brown, then we'll transfer them to the pot over here. And then from there, we'll start adding our other ingredients and then let it slow cook. Because it does take a while to cook, I will, since I'm not doing a vegetarian version today, I will need to make something up for Lemzon for lunch. So while we're waiting on this to cook, I will probably go ahead and find something to make for him. If I can find a recipe, I know I will. We'll see what we can put together. You wish you could talk more shit, but you're at work. Understand. I thought you were being a little bit light on the shit talking. I have my oven at about 6, so about medium way. Don't need it super high. I'm going to move this back real quick. And while that's going, I'm going to see what I can find that we can do for Lemzon. You want me to do this corn shake?
I was going to roast it instead of boiling it.
In the air fryer?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, so you want me to leave it alone?
I don't know.
I'm asking. I don't care.
It's up to you. I will have to clean out that other pot for you. Do you need me to come do dishes while you're cooking?
Well, I was
Gonna just leave them for me?
well,
Just hope I didn't notice.
no, what settings does the air fryer have on it?
There is, I think there's a roast setting on it.
Okay. What about how I cook them in aluminum foil on the grill? They probably couldn't handle that, could it?
The corn?
Yeah.
Those don't have the husk. I just remember that those don't have a.
They don't have a husk, yeah.
I may not be able to roast them. I'm not sure if I can. Anytime I've done it, I've always done it with the husks on them.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for something over here. I'll be away from the camera for a minute. I'm gonna just stick some baked potatoes in the air fryer too. I know Amazon will need them, but
This is why I'm fat.
I won't do it.
Don't do it.
No,
I want to be fat. Be pleasantly plump.
and these I don't have to put in foil. I just pop some holes in them and put them in, right?
Don't even put holes in them. But you have to set them on air fry.
Set them
On air fry, and on those bigger ones, it seems to be about 40 minutes.
Okay.
I think it's at 400.
Okay. So I'm gonna air fry
Just
some
rinse
baked
them off in the
potatoes,
sink.
not just for Limzon, but for us too. Watch out, T-Dog. If you want to say hi to the camera, you can. Do we not have any clean pans for the air fryer? Or can I just set them on the...
Well, they were clean. Now, we may have used them for bagels.
Okay.
Oh, I just set them on the rack. I don't put them on a pan.
Okay.
Yeah, just set them directly on the rack is what I was doing with them. And then I'll like double them up. And I don't know how many you're cooking, but you can like do one in the back, one in the front, and then go from there. Hi, Cracker Sisters. Bye, Cracker Sisters.
Okay, we got the baked potatoes in the air fryer cooking. As this is cooking, I like to separate it. You see how it's kind of starting to turn light brown on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and start flipping some of this. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and add the onions to cook with it. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and re-season the meat and onions again. A little bit of thyme. chili powder. Some paprika. A little bit of cayenne pepper, just because T-Dog doesn't like it too hot. A little bit of onion powder. Pepper. One thing you can use too, if you want to use less of these different types of seasonings, sometimes I'll use the chili powder, paprika, and thyme. And the other seasoning I'll use is Montreal steak seasoning. And I won't use any of the other stuff. It also tastes good with that. A little bit of garlic powder. And a little bit of salt. I'll turn my heat up just a hair more to about 7. We'll let that cook about another 10 minutes. Mushrooms, were you using these for a recipe, or are they good to cook? Or?
They're good to cook if you want to.
Okay. No, I think I got it.
And if you need me to take a break, I can. I mean, I've been going pretty long time, but
No, you're fine.
I wanted to grab. Ooh, these dishes aren't clean, are they? Coffee cup.
We are low on coffee cups.
Yeah, I may have to take a little break and do.
That's fine if you want to take a break. Or you could have Limzon take a break and do a load, or have T-Dog. It's up to you.
Debating. I don't know where my coffee cup is from this morning because I could use that.
Mine.
Oh, it's over here. Okay, that's right. I forgot that snake thing. I may do it here in a sec. And if I can just put this on low,
Okay.
but if you need to move it off, it's fine.
That's
That
fine.
is all it needs to do, and then I'm going to strain it off.
I'm going to go ahead and add the meat and onions into the chili bowl.
Actually, it smells good in here, sir. It smells delightful.
Okay, we got this heating up in there. Now we're going to start adding some of our other ingredients. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take these first. I'm going to just pop all these in. that. Now we'll try to get everything good and mixed up. I try to break up the meat some into smaller pieces. And like I said, usually I would be adding bacon right now. I just don't have any on hand, and by the time I noticed, I did not feel like going to the store. Alright. So next, I'm going to go ahead and add the tomato sauce. And usually as I kind of add these, I'll give it a good stir, kind of mix everything in. And I'm going to add the diced green chilies. And it's just a little small can, 4 ounce. And then I'm going to use a half a can of diced tomatoes. We'll get that all mixed up here. Alright, now we'll start adding our beans. Add the pinto beans. Great northern beans. Some dark red kidney beans. And we'll do one more black bean. So 5 cans of beans. I usually try to have a different one for each. Or if I do 2, I usually do pinto beans, but I did not have that, so I did 2 black beans. Alright. We'll get all this stirred around. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and re-season it again. Try magic beans. Yeah, but those giants were kind of frisky. Put some thyme back in. Some more chili powder. If you use more of anything, chili powder is probably your one. Some paprika. A little bit more cayenne pepper, but this will probably be it on my recipe. I won't add any more cayenne pepper past this. That's just to not have it so hot that T-Bone can't eat it. Alright, a little bit of onion powder. We don't have to use too much with all the fresh onions. Black pepper. We'll put plenty of that in. A little bit of garlic powder. And some salt. Alright. Get all this mixed up here. Okay, where did I put... Shade, do you know where... Oh, it's right in front of me. So we'll put the lid on that for now. I'm going to go ahead and turn it up to about 6. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes.
Good afternoon, Sean.
Oh, God.
15 minutes, starting now.
Shabby keeps putting things on our Alexa from like cartoons and shit to fuck with me when I add freaking like timers and stuff. So anyways, we'll let it cook 15. We'll season it again, get another good stir. I'm going to go ahead and put the spatula up and get a spoon out for stirring. Alright, so now we need to figure out, I got some baked potatoes going, 4 limbs on, and 1 for each of us to go with the chili. And by the way, if you want to, putting the chili on a baked potato tastes really good. Add sour cream, add cheese on top afterwards. Very, very good. So baked potatoes do go hand in hand with this recipe if you want a little bit more. All right. Let me check what's in the fridge. I'm trying to get an idea of something else to go for Lemzon since he's vegetarian. Okay. Go ahead and start getting the mushrooms cut up. This is just going to be a hodgepodge of vegetarian delight. Either he'll like it or he'll hate me. This is kind of on the fly. Hopefully it tastes good. I did not grow up making vegetarian meals. JB is pretty good at vegetarian meals. Me, I'm better working with meat. Have experience with meat. Are you ignoring me over there, Shabe? I said you're better at cooking vegetarian meals, that I have more experience with meat. A lot of years of experience with meat.
Really do like to work with meat.
You feel good inside. I was throwing you a softball up. I figured you would take it and run with it.
Oh, I ran.
Yeah.
I ran.
I'm waiting to see what Guggenheim comes up with. He's at work, so I hope he can't say anything and I'm breaking him right now.
Oh, now
That's mean. He was on here asking me about using human meat. I have to break out my yog cleaver. I'm watching chat, Guggenheim. I hope I set that up and you can't say anything. About 4 minutes. We'll need to re-season and stir the chili, looking at the timer. I'm going to put a little bit of grapeseed oil in here, have it start heating up. Oh, shit. I'm spilling shit. Right. No, I've cooked with it before. It is Szechuan seasoning. I don't know. Probably not pronouncing it right. The wine is gone. What is left in here?
There's a couple of white wines in there that you can use.
Let's see. We'll go with this one. I haven't had it before. Shabby was using it for cooking. We can't have an empty wine glass. Not while cooking. See how this one is. It's okay. It's wine. Okay. Why did the timer not go off with sound? All right. So it's time to go ahead and stir the chili. Move the mic.
Stir in the pot.
Yep, stir in the pot. God, that smells good. And that meat will just slow cook in here and just turn just freaking tender as hell. All right, we're going to go ahead and season it. Only thing I'm not going to use is the cayenne pepper, just to not make it too hot for T-Dog. That's the chili powder. A bit of thyme. Some paprika. A bit of garlic powder. A bit of onion powder. And then pepper. And a little bit of salt. Give it another good stir. Get all the seasonings blended up. Put that back on. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Starting now.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and add this vegetarian delight to the pan. Whoop. Add some diced tomatoes. About a half a can. We'll add some salt. Some pepper. And then the Szechuan seasoning. A little bit more oil there. Okay. Start putting up a few things while I'm thinking of it. We'll add a little bit of soy sauce to this. Any questions, thoughts on the chili, how it's looking, anything like that? We have what looks like about 15 more minutes on the baked potatoes. I'll check them, see if they need to go a little bit longer. I would say after we do this next stir and 10 on the chili, we'll want to do at least one more. Depending where it's at and how tender the meat is, we might do one more after that. And we'll keep an eye on it with where the baked potatoes are at. If the baked potatoes need longer, that they may go longer than the chili being ready, then I would usually just turn the heat down on the chili and just slow it down, let it kind of simmer cook a bit more, not to get overcooked, but kind of stay just right with the baked potatoes. In the meantime, I can get sour cream out, and we got our cheese. Anything other sour cream and cheese that you want, Shabe?
I'm sorry, on my baked potato?
Chili or baked potato? Or you can combine the two if you want.
I would like mine separate, and
Okay.
I want both on both.
Both sour cream and cheese. Okay.
But I can also fix mine too, so.
No, that's fine. I was just trying to figure out what I needed out. So the cheese I like to use is just kind of a Mexican style blend cheese. And then I don't like sour cream on my chili or baked potato, but I think Shabe does. I think Gabe does. I'm not sure on T-Dog. I just like the cheese on the chili and just butter on my baked potato. I've had the chili on the baked potato before. It's good, but I do like them separate too. Shaby, where were your new video game cookbooks?
They're in that bookshelf right there.
Okay.
All four of them are.
So this is the new cookbook that Shaby got that she's going to be cooking some recipes out of. The Witcher cookbook. I haven't looked at what's in here yet. I'm curious to see what all there is. Now those look good. Granny's caramel nut baked apples. Those definitely look good. Yeah. Not raw ones. I would probably throw them away. Let's see, there's a Willoughby roast chicken with nuts and herbs. That looks really good. So I'm kind of marking some recipes through here I think I would like her to make. Ooh. Next time I do baked potatoes, I may do these. They're campfire style baked potatoes. Look good. That one has sauerkraut in it. I'm going to skip it. I hate sauerkraut. Apple and roasted grain L. So you use a Pell Lager, pasteurized apple juice, barley, coffee, and hot water to make it. That might be cool to try. Now this is speaking my language. Crow's perch game stew with vodka. Yep.
Oh yeah, a whole bunch of the recipes in there call for vodka, and so I was thinking about getting like a pretty good size.
Like a good size deal of vodka. Yep. I'm
for cooking.
I will support.
It's for cooking.
Yes, it's for cooking.
For cooking.
And sometimes you drink it while you're cooking. That's part of cooking.
I would never drink while I was cooking.
Really? So full of crap. See, there's a flatbread recipe in here. Boris the Troll's Hodgepodge Zoop. This doesn't look good to me, but I could see Shaby liking it. It looks pretty much vegetarian, so it might be one that we do try just because Lemzon will be able to eat it. And that is cool about these different video game cookbooks. So 2 years ago, the Dungeons and Dragons Heroes Feast, we actually did that for our Thanksgiving meal. It was really good. There's an elven bread in there everybody loves. Shaby still makes it during Christmas every year, even if we're not doing Dungeons and Dragons themed. A lot of good recipes in there. And then we got, let's see, the second Dungeons and Dragons book we got is the, I just read it, what was it? Meals of the Multiverse. And so last year, Shaby did some recipes out of it for Thanksgiving. Also really good. And it kind of has a balance of stuff that you would call vegetarian that is still really, really good. And a lot of stuff with different meats and stuff. The kids always like it when we do a D&D meal for the holidays because there's an actual recipe in there to make health potion punch and mana potion punch. And they end up being red and blue. And so I just get those big tea containers out and get both of those filled up. And then we'll play a D&D match. And so you're getting low on health or mana. We kind of do the deal when we're playing D&D after we eat. You have to fill up a glass of health potion or mana potion, whatever you need, and drink it. So it's fun. Now that's neat. I don't know how you would cook it. It's Alchemy Ends Bacon. You guys can see that. Looks pretty good. Okay, looks like our second timer is going to be up in a few minutes. The baked potatoes should be through their first round about after I get done re-seasoning and stirring that. So we'll check where those are. There's some confectionery apple fritters. Those look good. Shaby actually baked a apple pie on her WitchintheKitch channel I had her take some pictures of it. I think she's going to post online later. But the video, did you do a video on cooking the apple pie? You just didn't show the finish, did you?
I didn't show the finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's going to post what the finished one looks like. But the recipe, she did a video on it. So she's going to post the pictures. But it turned out good. I don't eat a lot of pie myself. I mean, you could look at the size of me and probably think I do, but I actually am not a big fan of pie. But I ate it and actually really did like it. It was really good. But yeah, there is so many recipes in here. She actually made, what were those cookies you made? The halfling
They were like
halfling nibbles
They were in
cookies.
a D&D cookbook.
They were like an oatmeal and chocolate chip.
Yeah, well, they were oatmeal, chocolate chip, and then you were supposed to do butterscotch chips.
Oh,
I
okay.
substituted white chocolate because I just didn't have them. But
So-
they're really good with butterscotch.
Yeah, they were halfling nibbles, and they were oatmeal chocolate chip and supposed to be butterscotch. We just didn't have them, and Sprouts was out of the butterscotch, so she went with white chocolate. But they were awesome. Everybody loved them. And this is one of the other new ones she got, the Minecraft cookbook. So I think with T-Dog and Limbs on, she's going to do some different recipes with them. A lot of good desserts, smoker brisket, husk tamales. Okay, now that looks good. Mushroom burger. Like, I'm making really good chili right now, and that is making me hungry to want to eat that. She did make this out of it, suspicious stew. So, if you check out her video, she did make that, I think, with T-Dog, and it was really good. But, yeah.
It was actually a quicker one, too. It only, I think total cook time was like an hour, including prep.
Okay.
It was a really good one, too. What's that, baby? I think she's cold. I am freezing. That's why I make me hot tea, because your dad's up and around.
Alexa, stop timer. So the timer's about up, so let's see what our chili looks like.
We don't have a timer called our chili looks like, but there is one for 15 minutes.
Alexa, stop 15-minute timer.
15-minute timer canceled.
All right. Chili is looking really good. It may be done a little bit sooner. So I'm running it pretty hot. Let's see. Season this a little bit more. stuff. Okay, go ahead and re-season the chili before we start a new timer. I'm gonna focus on making sure plenty of pepper and salt first. Plenty of chili powder. Some more paprika. Sounds like our baked potatoes just got done. We'll see if they're ready. We'll have a little bit of thyme. A little bit of garlic powder. Give that just a good stir through there. Smells good. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to check these baked potatoes real quick and be right back. All right, I'm going to do about 15 more minutes on the potatoes. Pretty much same where the chili's at. And I think same where this hodgepodge mess I put together is at. So this is cooking good. I mean, with this spatula, I can cut through the carrots real easy. So everything's cooking pretty good through there. So what do you guys like to cook at home? Is there any certain recipes you like? Any certain type of food that is your favorite to cook at home? If you play video games, what's your favorite video game? If you had a video game cookbook you would want us to do, let us know. While Shavy will be the main one doing a lot of cooking, there are some that I would like to try. I know we saw there was 3 volumes of Elder Scrolls cookbooks, and we played Elder Scrolls Online, played some of Skyrim, so we thought about getting the first volume of that here soon. And then there's also a Harry Potter cookbook, so we thought about getting that. So a lot of different things we can go. Since I'm not as good of a cook, I'm probably not going to do it, but some of the games we play, a lot of survival games, don't necessarily have an official cookbook out, but like we play 7 Days to Die, has a lot of different food in it, of course. We play Soul Mask a lot, which that's what Shavy and T-Dog are playing right now. I was playing it earlier. We were thinking about trying to make some of the recipes out of there, not just using the ingredients they have, probably adding some to it, of course, for taste. but trying to make some of those. It'll probably be more Shaby because she's a much better on the fly type of cook than I am. But yeah, if you guys have any certain type of food you like or certain type of food you would like to see either me or her try to cook, or if there's a certain cookbook you want us to try. I know outside of video game cookbooks, one that we both like, I think we have 2 or 3 different cookbooks from Gordon Ramsay, and there's not a thing that we haven't cooked over the years out of those that we haven't loved. A lot of good recipes in there. There's still a lot that we haven't tried yet that we wanted to try. But yeah, I know I got a salmon recipe everyone likes pretty well. I may do that sometime. He's got one in there that salmon that Shaby did the other day was really good. Guggenheim, you should be close to being done with work. All right, looks like we got about 8 minutes left. So here in a few, I'm going to go ahead and give it another stir, lightly season, let it finish out. And I think when that hits its mark, it should be ready. Then I'll start plating up. I like to eat it with just cheese on it after I get it done on the chili. But I also like to use tortillas and kind of dip those and get a scoopful of the chili is really, really good. One thing about this, for the most part, it's pretty well keto. And we've tried to cut out how much carbs and sugar we end up having. So like the tortillas we usually keep around are the Carb Balance, which are low in carbs, low in sugar. So if you're going on like a keto type diet, for the most part, this is pretty well keto. So yeah, that's something else that's kind of cool about it. Like I said, not having the bacon is the only part of it that I didn't have that I think really adds to the overall flavor. It will still be really good, but the bacon really adds a lot to it. So I would highly recommend your first time cooking it, do it with the bacon. It is really good. But if you are vegetarian or you have someone at home that eats like that, I will always prefer meat before anything else. But the Gardein beef crumbles do work really well with it. And you don't change anything in how you cook it. You cook up the Gardein just like I did the venison or wild boar. and seasoned the same. You just wouldn't use bacon, which I didn't today anyways, and use the Gardein in place, but everything else would be the same, and it still tastes really good. And Shabe and T-Dog, while they will eat meat, they still liked it in the vegetarian style. So instead of caveman, you could call it caveman with spirit finger stew or chili for the vegetarian version. But it still tastes really good. All right, let's go ahead and season the chili real quick. I'm going to go ahead and turn it down to 4 on its last few minutes. As you can see, it's bubbling pretty hot. So we'll let it start simmering down some. Now, one thing you could do that you could add to this if you did want more heat is, one, when you do the re-seasonings, do cayenne pepper each time. But you also could add some of the crushed red pepper flakes. Those will really add some heat to it. I did make a deal of it one time with the crushed red pepper flakes, and I loved it, but I think it was too hot for even Shaby, and definitely too hot for Shaby. But I loved it. So it depends where you're at on where you like your chili and how hot you want it. All right, we're going to give it its last good stir. If you notice, the venison meat has become much smaller. It's gotten so tender, it's almost turned into crumbles itself. Let's see, we got a few minutes left, so I'm going to move this on 2. Just let it go with a slow simmer. Our baked potatoes are about done as well. So I'm going to start getting the stuff out to start getting this plated and bowled up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and plate up limsons first.
Oh, that wasn't the baby. Okay, stop. You have to stop. I cannot help you. Okay, now bandage. It's okay. You hit Z and see if it'll follow you. Keep Z on so that if it does, it keep it on follow. Okay. Whenever you get off of it, just hit Z as quick as you can. Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
All right, so he wants everything on his. So put the butter on first. We're now going to add some cheese on here for him.
Right, so I have not ever actually caught a capybara, so I will help any way I can, but you may have to kind of tell me what to do in this instance. Okay?
And we're going to add some sour
Have you
cream.
done it? What I do? Yeah. I'm gonna move my alpaca away from. I'm gonna move my alpaca.
And we're going to add some pepper and salt.
You want to put your panther over here by my alpaca? Okay.
Now I'm going to plate up the vegetarian, I guess we'll call it mystery stew here.
How do you crouch
All right,
again? I keep getting wrong
so
buttons.
we got limsons food done. So we're going to go take it to him and we'll wait for the complaint to be filed. If you didn't hear me, I forgot to use the mic. I'm going to go deliver this to Limson and wait for the complaint to be filed.
I did not bring my phone. Okay, then I'm just gonna hang out over here and just stay out of the way. Does that work? Well, what if we leave that trap there and kind of scoot on down a little more?
Do you want any of that vegetarian food that I made shade on the side?
Hang on a minute.
Do you want any of the vegetarian food I made on the side?
I want one of everything. Jordan says her too. Okay. What if I stay here and you move down? I just don't know this area, so I don't think there's anything too high level here.
Okay, we'll get shades plated up.
Maybe I just put it back where it was. Let me watch it, and you can go place another one where we both just sit here and watch it because they're both close by. I mean, this is an area where they're used to being, I guess.
All right. Get. Let's see here.
Close by. Play your trap and scoot away. That baby's coming back. Oh, it has to. No, it was a bird. I'm sorry. Oh, I see it. And then scoot away.
Okay. You guys can see it. There's Shavy's chili with cheese, sour cream, baked potato, cheese, sour cream, the vegetables. We'll go take that to her.
We're meta, honey. Meditate, pounding. She said she wants one of every. Oh, you want sour cream, Lauren? Sour cream and cheese, she says. This is good.
Oh, wrong spoon.
Awesome. This is amazing.
You like it?
This is very, very good. Okay, and then can you just hit Z and have your mount follow you?
All right. We'll get T-Dogs ready here.
Okay.
She
So
pretty much
have
wants
your mount
everything
follow
on
you,
hers, just like
and
Shabe.
then just run back to Barrett's bonfire, and I'm going to follow you and make sure nothing gets on you, okay?
T-Dog doesn't like a lot of pepper on her baked potatoes, just a little bit.
Back. Why don't you stay kind of right behind me?
We'll add some cheese in there.
And that way, if anything does pull on us, it pulls
A
on
little
me,
bit of
not
sour
you.
cream. We'll add some cheese on her chili.
I'm trying to kind of look too. I can also use my mask.
All right, and then we'll get her a few vegetables. All right, that's how her looks: baked potato, caveman chili, and the vegetables.
There's a pig here. Hang on. Stay where you're at and let me kill this pig. Okay. And then come on down. Follow me. I know. He did a good job. There is.
Okay.
Stay right there. Hey, stop moving. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up this fence.
all that is left is mine. This is all the wine left in the house. All right, so I'm going to get my plate ready and we'll try it out. We'll see how it is. All right, got our chili. Put some cheese on it. All right, then baked potatoes, add some salt. A lot of pepper. And we'll add a little bit of the vegetables. That is how mine looks. There's the chili, potatoes, and the vegetables. I just take a smaller portion of vegetables as nutrition tends to poison me. That's how you keep a perfect body like this. I think Shaby's ignoring me because she's eating food. So let's go ahead and not worry about the remark. And hopefully Guggenheim is busy. Let our butter melt a bit more on the baked potato. Let us try the chili though. And it is hot. Oh, it's good. Burnt my tongue a little bit. Very, very good though. Very, very good. So, you look there. Big deal of meat, some bean, cheese. Very, very good. Not just saying that to toot my own horn. That is by far my favorite chili. Only thing could have made it better is cooking with the bacon. We'll try the baked potatoes we air fried. Very good. And then we will try some of the little vegetable delight medley, whatever you want to call it. Pretty good. I'm surprised. Some mushroom. Very good. Pepper's good too. Well, with that, I'll let you guys go. That way you don't see a fat boy getting fatter. Hope you enjoyed it. I probably won't be doing much cooking on this channel, but check out WitchintheKitch. He's on YouTube and Twitch. We may cook some stuff together. I may cook some other stuff on here, but it will be not as much as a gaming channel. It'll be more of a gaming channel. But if you enjoyed it, follow, like, subscribe. Hope to see you again. And with that, have a good evening, morning, noon, whatever it is where you're at. And we will see you later.